We can get really excited about Palm Sunday. The palms and pageantry, the pomp and circumstance, the hosannas, joyous shouts, the spontaneity, the fun of an impromptu parade. Our procession this morning, palm-waving, hosannas, songs, as we celebrate and recall Jesus' entry into Jerusalem is a lot of fun. We easily become caught up in the excitement of Palm Sunday. The ones gathered around greeting Jesus are caught up in the festive welcome of the one roaming the countryside, changing people's lives. The ones following Jesus are swept along in the parade. Jesus' closest disciples are sure now is the time. All those months, even years of wandering with Jesus through countryside and town are going to pay off big time right now. Jesus is about to take over with might and power, running things the way they should be run in fair and just ways, freeing them from imperial Roman rule, from unfair religious laws and practices. The disciples believe everything is about to change. Jesus has won. Jesus and they have come out on top. Just look at the people, listen to the crowd. All of us can get really excited about Palm Sunday. For Jesus, though, there is an awareness of a different reality. Personally, I don't think Jesus knew all along, right from the beginning, what was going to happen in his life, or for that matter, in his death or after his death. But I do think Jesus was reasonably intelligent. He knew the ones who followed him pretty well by now. He could sense the threat he was becoming to a lot of people, the discontent he caused among political and religious leaders. I think Jesus was aware of what was going on around him. I think he was beginning to see where this journey was going to end. That is, if he stayed the course, if he continued on into Jerusalem and did not change his tone, lighten up a little bit on the rhetoric, spin the message differently as the high holy days approached and the streets began filling with the crowds. Have you ever had a dream and found companions along the way eager to join in, but you know they don't really understand where you're going, don't get what your life truly is all about? Have you ever heard the cheering around you as excitement mounts, all the while knowing it will not last? Have you experienced honor and praise even as you sense the tide is turning and support of even those closest to you is about to wane very quickly? Have you ever moved forward in fear, standing for what you believe in, even as you realize the cost is going to be very high? Have you ever stood your ground for everything which you have lived your entire life, knowing now you are in dangerous territory, traveling down a road where you stand, traveling down the road of where you stand that may cost you your very life? Have you ever walked the thin line between fear and the call, having to decide with each step which way you will go, afraid of what most assuredly lies ahead, but knowing that forward is where the holy is leading you? Welcome to Jesus' world on Palm Sunday, as he enters Jerusalem to celebrate Passover, continuing to challenge the established ways of being in God's world, standing over against political norms, taking on religious norms, changing societal norms, trying to transform the world so that all of the earth is aligned with divine love. As I've said in past weeks, reflecting on the prayer Jesus taught, Jesus is intent on making the ways of heaven to be so on earth. Justice is Jesus' mission. Jesus' ministry is all about confronting the status quo if the status quo is not establishing justice and fairness throughout all the earth. Jesus insists the ways of God have precedence over the ways of Rome, over the ways of any government. Jesus insists the ways of God have precedence over Jewish law and leadership, over Presbyterian law and leadership, over law and leadership of any religion, any movement, any community that is not about justice, about fair sharing and equal resources for everyone, about living life in peace, standing over against violence of every kind, economic, political, emotional violence, violence to property, violence to a people's spirit. Jesus insists the ways of God are about preserving the earth and everything and everyone on it. This is the focus of Jesus' life. And for this insistence on the ways of God in every aspect of our world, Jesus is about to lose his life. Jesus in life and in death, before and after the resurrection, is always and forever about justice. And in a few days, Jesus will be gone. Disciples will be left to figure it out. Jesus did not bring the reign of God they had expected. He headed to his death, telling them to put their swords away. Violence is not the way. And yet leaving them with the responsibility to bring the ways of heaven somehow to be so on earth. You see, for Jesus, justice must come. But justice must come through just means, perhaps nonviolent resistance, peaceful though powerful confrontation, but not through violence and destruction.